The Denel Rooivalk was created with high hopes, yet sadly it could not fulfill its destiny. Does the New World offer the South African attack helicopter a new chance? As the weapon detective, we're now investigating the Rooivalk and seeking an answer to this question. The Rooivalk is one of the most intriguing attack helicopters. Even though it was among the best in its class when it was created, now it is partly outdated. With the Mark II program currently being executed, would the Rooivalk have a chance for a rematch? Before seeking the answer, let's briefly examine its history and features. Since the mid-1960s, the South African Defense Force, shortly SANDF, had dealt with the communist insurgency in Southwest Africa, which is today's Namibia. Yet, the Cuban forces were involved in the conflict after Angola became an independent state and the war's characteristics began to change. In the early 1980s, the South African border war was more like a conventional war than a counterinsurgency operation. In the vast savannas, the helicopters played crucial roles in long-range raids and critical troop deployments in battles. However, the increasing number of tanks, armored fighting vehicles, and manpads in the Cuban and Angolan forces made this job more difficult day by day. To keep conducting efficient air mobile operations, the SANDF needed a dedicated attack helicopter, escorting helicopter troop transports, striking enemy anti-aircraft positions, and countering enemy armored units and attack helicopters. Since South Africa was under the United Nations arms embargo due to its apartheid policy, this country could not acquire such a system from abroad. It had to execute the project indigenously. Atlas Aircraft Corporation, today's Denel Aeronautics, began development works in 1984. The project was closely connected to the Atlas V3C transport helicopter. Using the same components, such as engines, gearboxes, main and tail rotors, would reduce the development time and cost first, and then the logistic burden. Since the V3C was simply a localized and improved model of the Puma, the transport helicopter work was completed quickly. On the other hand, the Rooivalk program required an entirely new design. Besides, the SANDF demanded a highly capable attack helicopter equivalent or even better to the US Apache. These two factors naturally increased the cost and the time scale of the project. South Africa had to prove the concept first. So, Atlas produced the Alouette 3-based XH-1 Alpha concept demonstrator helicopter, which made its maiden flight on February 3, 1985. The result was satisfactory. Then, the company converted two Pumas as testbeds to test and evaluate the new attack helicopter's many subsystems, including the dynamic parts. Even though all these efforts were fruitful, in 1988 it became clear that South Africa was losing the war, which would also pave the way for the independence of Namibia first, and then the end of the apartheid regime later. So, the defense budget got shrunk. Still, the first prototype of the Rooivalk, called XDM, made its maiden flight on February 11, 1990. Taking its name from the abbreviation Experimental Demonstration Model, this helicopter initially had the Topaz turboshaft engines, operated versions of the Turbomeca Turbo 4 of the Puma. It was equipped with the Makila 1A1 later. On May 22, 1992, the second experimental helicopter, the ADM, met the skies. Taking its name from the abbreviation Advanced Demonstration Model, it had a glass cockpit. This helicopter conducted fire trials with the ZT-6 Mokopa and OT missiles. On November 18, 1996, the third prototype, the EDM, made its maiden flight. Taking its name from the abbreviation Engineering Development Model, the helicopter had Makila 1A2 turboshaft engines, and its empty weight was reduced by 800 kilograms. The South African Air Force, shortly SAF, had initially planned to have 36 machines. Yet, due to changing threat perceptions and budget cuts, it ordered 12 Rooivalks in 1996. The first serial production helicopter was delivered in 2008 for user trials. The SAF officially took the Rooivalk into service in April 2011. Initially, the helicopter was designated as AH-2 first and CSH-2 later. AH means attack helicopter, while CSH means combat support helicopter. Now, It is called the Rooivalk Mark I by the SANDF. The primary parts of the structure are made of aluminum alloy. The secondary structures and blades are composite. The helicopter had self-sealing fuel tanks. The armored and air conditioning cockpit has a crew oxygen system and fire detection and extinguishing systems. The canopies are formed from flat plates on single curvature sheets to minimize glint from the sun and can be heated against vaporization and icing. The crew sits in seats optimized for crashes. Both crew members have 3 multifunctional screens for data display and can fly the helicopter and use the weapons. The helicopter has hands-on collective and stick controls, digital motor control, and a duplex digital 4-axis automatic flight control system with automatic height hold, hover capture, and hover hold capabilities. The highly maneuverable Rooivalk can perform loops. The helicopter has sand filters for use in deserts and savannas. The Rooivalk can be operated for prolonged periods with minimum support. It can perform up to 72 hours of combat missions without maintenance. A medium-sized utility helicopter can transport all necessary maintenance equipment, basic spare parts, and a 4-person ground support crew to keep the Rooivalk flying. The Rooivalk has extensive built-in test systems and aerostatus displays. Most systems are modular. Some outer components can be used as a work platform. The helicopter also has its own pump for refueling and does not require external generator systems. Refueling and arming take about 15 minutes. The Rooivalk has a suitable size and weight to be transported by a C-130. The Rooivalk has low radar, visual, infrared, and acoustic signatures. It is also equipped with an electronic countermeasure suite and chaff and flare dispensers. The landing gears can withstand a crash impact of up to 6 meters. The rotor brake is standard. The helicopter has a video recorder linked to the television camera to evaluate hits. The Rooivalk also has a forward-looking infrared and a combined laser target illuminator rangefinder. It can be equipped with a pulse Doppler radar upon request. The SANDF upgraded its Rooivalk fleet to the Block 1F standards, including improved targeting systems and other avionics. Due to budget cuts, the helicopter initially had no guided missile firing capability. Now, Block 1F variants can use the Mokopa. Besides, with this upgrade, the Rooivalk has received improved gearbox components and better cooling for the 20mm GI2 autocannon. Based on the NextAF model F2, this gun has a maximum range of 4,000 meters and an effective range of 2,000 meters. The Rooivalk can carry up to 720mm rounds and a dual-link feeding system. The GI2 is controlled via the Top Owl helmet-mounted display. Its rate of fire is 740 rounds per minute. The semi-active laser-homing ZT-6 Mokopa anti-tank missile has a range of 10,000 meters. Its tandem high-explosive anti-tank warhead can penetrate 1,550mm thick steel supported by explosive reactive armor. The ZT-6 also has variants with millimeter wave radar or 2-color imaging infrared seekers. After modernization, the Rooivalk has been certified for the FC-275 LGR laser-guided rocket with an 8-kilometer range. Against air targets, the helicopter can fire ATAM, the air-to-air variant of the Mistral manpads, V3C Darter, or R.550 Magic missiles. With its full internal fuel, the Rooivalk can carry over 1,550 kilograms of weapons. Reducing the fuel to 1,000 kilograms, the weapon carrying capacity can be increased to over 2,000 kilograms. In 2023, Denel Aeronautics and Aselsan of Turkey signed an agreement to collaborate on the avionics upgrade of the Rooivalk. After this modernization, the helicopter will probably be able to fire the Jurit laser-guided rockets. We should also mention Denel Aeronautics unveiled the Rooivalk maritime variant at the Farnborough Air Show in 1998. This 2-seater helicopter has a fuselage length of 16.39 meters and a total length of 18.73 meters. Its rotor diameter is 15.58 meters, while its height is 5.19 meters. The Rooivalk has an empty weight of 5,730 kilograms and a maximum takeoff weight of 8,750 kilograms. Two 1,420 kilowatt Turbomeca Miekla 1K2 turboshaft engines provide a top speed of 309 km per hour. The cruising speed of the helicopter is 278 km per hour. The Rooivalk, which has a range of 704 km, can reach a range of 1,335 km with external fuel tanks. Its service ceiling is 6,100 meters, in other words 20,000 feet, while its hover ceiling is 5,850 meters, in other words 19,200 feet. The Rooivalk was considered a highly advanced attack helicopter in the 1980s. However, when it was taken into service in 2011 by the SANDF, it was already outdated due to delays in the program. Besides, the uncertainty after the end of the apartheid regime made the Denel Aeronautics a suspicious provider for some time. The Rooivalk relied on French technology, and France, which had its own Tiger, was not keen to support the marketing efforts of the South African attack helicopter. Also, the Rooivalk had a strong competitor, the AH-64 Apache, which had US governmental support. For many potential Rooivalk customers, the surplus Russian Mi-24s were a cheaper solution. And the South African bird of prey did not even have a low-cost advantage against expensive Apache or Tiger. These factors have naturally blocked Rooivalk's market success. Still, Algeria, Australia, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Turkey, and the United Kingdom had been interested in the helicopter. The most possible candidate was Turkey. The Rooivalk became one of the last two considered helicopters in the Turkish attack project, but it lost against the A129 Mangusta-based T129. Actually, the Turkish Army Aviation Command was highly impressed by the capabilities of the Rooivalk. However, its French-made engine and gearbox would be a problem since Turkey and France had a troublesome relationship. Also, Erdogan had a good relationship with Berlusconi, which affected the decision. After this failure, Denel announced ceasing further development and funding for the Rooivalk as an export product in 2007. However, by the mid-2010s, the improvement and marketing efforts on the helicopter were resumed. Denel signed a memorandum of understanding with Airbus Helicopters to cooperate on the SANDF modernization program. The company reinitiated marketing efforts in Egypt, Brazil, Nigeria, Poland, and India. As a flying machine, the Rooivalk is still an excellent rotorcraft. It is based on the reliable, powerful enough, and most importantly affordable design of Puma. Since the NH90 is too expensive and challenging to operate, even France has acquired the H225M Caracal, the latest family member of the Puma. Australia and Norway's retirement of NH90 in a very short time is an inconvenient failure. On the other hand, the Caracal is one of the market's rising stars. The KAI KUH-1 Surion is also based on the Puma family. It is another strong indicator that the Puma has a reliable design that challenges years. We should add that the Airbus Helicopters Tiger also has a dissatisfactory performance in the international market due to its high acquisition and operation costs and low weapon capability. Australia will also retire its fleet soon. Its old avionics made the Rooivalk outdated. In 2023, Denel Aeronautics and Aselsan signed an agreement to collaborate on the avionics upgrade of the Rooivalk. Thus, the South African attack helicopter, with reliable, powerful enough, and most importantly affordable design, will also have state-of-the-art avionics. So, the Rooivalk will have a second chance in the international market. The new era, which we define as the Second Cold War, brings new opportunities. The demand in the market is rapidly increasing. Yet, many profit-oriented Western defense companies can offer only absurdly expensive attack helicopters. Also, their low production rates are not enough to fulfill the demand. As mentioned in our C390 video, these facts give space to new players in the market. In the new world, the Rooivalk has the potential to break a leg and find its rightful place this time. Yet, if Denel cannot perform the right marketing strategies, it may miss this opportunity again. We hope that will not be the case. Who doesn't want to see more Rooivalks in the skies, as we surely do. Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments, and shares.